Hey there, dear listeners. This is Miguel. Thanks a ton for choosing my channel on this beautiful day. I'm constantly intrigued by the endless possibilities this world offers, imaginary tales, amazing adventures, and captivating characters that always create ripples in my mind. I'm head over heels for fantasy, for creation, and even more so for sharing the magic that life doesn't often reach, through my stories with you. This is a platform where I get to share these thought-out stories. I hope you find joy in them, maybe get touched or simply enjoy the feeling of immersing yourself in a different world. Today, I've got a fresh new story for you all. This one's called Echoes of Planet. So let's hop out of our preset imaginations and kickstart this journey. Buckle up and get ready to dive into a world of wonder.
Imagine this. Time, like a sullen black stream, moving slowly in endless darkness. Just like the mucky water of a swamp, it quietly spreads downwards from high above, extending from one darkness to another deeper. It's so quiet, so serene that you can almost hear the subtle tremble of your soul in the air, a yearning, a desperation for a sliver of sound, just to give this narrow space-time a hint of life. Then, finally, a faint noise emerges from the endless dark, the rumbling of machinery, like it's digging or cutting through something. The noise starts as a whisper, grows to a hum, and then escalates to a roar loud enough to shatter the silence. Then, a spark. A burst of orange light flickers, and lights up the world before us. Suddenly, a series of panicked screams pierce through the air. A large figure falls in a straight line, tumbling through the cutout hole. However, just as it is about to hit the floor, a miraculous force surges from its limbs, lifting it a few centimeters off the ground, mitigating most of the impact as it crashes down. "Tirapa, give me a damage report," Ramita says. Struggling to her feet, Ramita reaches a hand up to touch her right cheek. She may be aiming for her temple, but the sudden fall left her feeling a bit dizzy. She pats her head, calling to the other mind that's closely connected to her, asking it to check on her physical state. The buffer worked at the last moment, there's barely any damage to the body. But it seems your consciousness is a bit scrambled. I diagnose it as a permanent damage to the intelligence. Report completed, Tirapa responds. "I appreciate your diagnosis," Ramita sarcastically comments, ignoring what she perceives as Tirapa's ill-placed humor. In front of Ramita, there's only darkness, a sight she's almost accustomed to. She wears a transparent helmet that appears to be made of glass, but beneath it, she connects to a hulking body, standing well over 2 meters tall. The huge arms, mechanical legs, all make her look like an indomitable ironclad warrior. "Turn on the lights," Ramita commands. A blue halo flickers at the temple on Ramita's right side, slowly starting to rotate, a sign that Tirapa is working. Her right arm lifts, a small mechanical piece the size of an egg pops out from somewhere and shoots up into the sky, stopping above Ramita's head, before emitting a weak but gradually strengthening blue light. "Tirapa, where are we, ruins of the old age?" Ramita inquires. Ramita's eyes have dilated to their limits, and through the light from above, she can barely make out her surroundings. The space around is huge, several stories high when she looks up from where she fell. Judging from the range of the light, there are about a dozen racks as tall as her, filled with various items. It looks like a warehouse. "Yes, this is a relic of the old age, a bookstore. The items on the shelves look like books," Tirapa replies. "A bookstore? Books? Give me a detailed explanation," Ramita questions. "Simply put, books are ancient fiber products. The people of the old age knew how to extract fibers from trees and print words on them, arranging them into a form of product carrying knowledge, primarily used for transmitting knowledge, emotions, and concepts. A bookstore, therefore, is a marketplace for the trading of books, Tirapa explained in detail. Ramita, guided by Tirapa, approached a shelf and reached out her mechanical arm to pick up a book. However, the moment her fingers lightly touched the book, barely holding its shape, instantly disintegrated into pieces. How can such fragile things as these books transmit knowledge? Ramita questioned, puzzled. Why didn't the people of the old age keep this information in a safer and more convenient way? Turning trees into fibers and then into paper seems such a waste. Tirapa began to explain, that's because the humans of the old age were in the transitional stage from a physical to a virtual civilization. So, some people were still heavily dependent on physical items. Back then, some people liked to touch books, enjoy the tactile sensation when flipping pages, and even liked the smell of books. You can imagine the extent to which the people of that era were dependent on physical items. So, it's somewhat similar to the dependence of the people in the new age on virtual content, right? Ramita asked. After unsuccessfully trying to pick up a third book, Ramita gave up on the bookshelf and started to explore other parts of the bookstore, with the dim blue light slowly following her. After passing through the neatly arranged bookshelves, a huge open space appeared in front of her. A tall, broad platform was situated in the center, with the lower area around it seeming to be paying homage to it. There are some virtual storage devices from the old age ahead. Tirapa guided, if you get closer, I might be able to extract some information about the old age from them. Ramita nodded, moving towards several low tables next to the platform as Tirapa instructed. Scattered on the tables were a few metal boxes made up of mechanical parts. Tirapa had once told her that these metal boxes were devices used by the old age to perform basic computations and storage. Although they seemed outdated now, they were considered very advanced technology at the time. Ramita's mechanical body began to carefully scan these metal boxes. According to Tirapa, these boxes had far exceeded their intended lifespan and would disintegrate as quickly as the ancient books if touched carelessly. So, all she could do was patiently scan them, trying to extract any remaining information. Scanning complete, Tirapa began reporting, there's not much useful information, mainly the transaction records and book list of this bookstore. But there are some things you might find interesting. Suddenly, several video clips appeared in front of Ramita's eyes. A short man stood on the stage, delivering a passionate speech. Though Ramita couldn't understand his words, the audience was laughing heartily or bursting into enthusiastic applause. Then, the video switched to a few people in formal attire, holding a variety of strange instruments, playing beautiful music. The audience below was extremely quiet, listening intently, seemingly stunned by their performance. Then, individuals clad in bizarre attire began to converse with one another. Their emotional intensity fluctuated as dramatically as their tones of voice. After a series of dialogues, they shook hands and bowed deeply to the audience. Some people were moved to tears, others stood and clapped. Watching these videos stirred something within Ramita. What's happening to you? You can't understand what they're saying, can you? Do you need me to load a language module for you? Tirapa asked. No need, Ramita responded, I've finished watching. Even though I can't understand their words, but, for some reason, they all look happy. Did the people of the old age live like this? Do not overly romanticize the old age, Tirapa responded, these people appear happy because they are all book lovers. Their performances are all derived from the contents of books. This place not only served as a trading platform but also a gathering spot for sharing and exchanging knowledge. While the people of the old age possessed less knowledge compared to those of the new age, their passion for knowledge was much stronger. Why didn't I see such gathering places in the remnants of the New Age? Ramita curiously inquired. For the New Age, the convenience and rapid dissemination of virtual content were more important. The love the Old Age had for physical books was seen as meaningless in the New Age. Even the gatherings of enthusiasts gradually transitioned into the virtual world, and eventually, this place lost its original function, with even physical books becoming collectible items for special enthusiasts. Tirapa replied. Really? Collectibles, I would like to get a book and flip through it. Ramita sighed. I thought you found this wasteful and preferred to learn more efficiently, like through neural transmission? If we used neural transmission, all the books in this bookstore could be transmitted in just a few seconds. Tirapa teased. But after transmission, I'd at least have a headache for half a day. Ramita, somewhat annoyed, rolled her eyes, knowing that even though Tirapa didn't have eyes, they shared the same body, so Tirapa should understand her dissatisfaction. Tirapa, can you scan to see if there are any usable books in this bookstore? Ramita changed the subject. You want to take relics of the Old Age? You really overestimate the craftsmanship of the ancients. Although Tirapa replied so, it still controlled the mechanical body, searching within the bookstore, with the sound of the scanner continuously beeping until it finally stopped in front of a wall. Straight ahead, down, dig. Tirapa knew at times like this, Ramita preferred to take action herself. Ramita swung her fist hard, and the wall immediately caved in, dust falling from the ceiling and the wall. Yet the distorted wall showed no cracks. Increase your strength by 20%, about 7 more punches should do it. Tirapa instructed. With one punch after another, Ramita finally revealed a metal layer behind the shattered structure of the wall. The metal layer seemed undamaged, without any indentation or scratch. Ramita looked at the unusually sturdy structure, somewhat surprised. Was this designed by the Old Age? Are there really books behind it? Ramita asked curiously. Hard to put into words, but going by the era, this was totally a creation of the Old Age. I've clocked some special material behind this metal. It ain't made from fibers, but something way tougher. There are some kinds of letters on it too. We should be able to snag it, though I've got no clue what the inscriptions say, Tirapa responded. Wow, a material and language even Tirapa doesn't recognize? Now, that's a rarity, Ramita tossed in, her tone laced with surprise. My knowledge is only from what's known, anything beyond that is like trying to read alien hieroglyphs. However, we better step on it. The rock layers above are getting unstable from the impact. Rocks are starting to fall, we gotta get that thing and vamoose outta here, Tirapa warned. Ramita looked up, seeing the cracks on the wall expanding upwards. Dirt and pebbles started sliding down from the broken ceiling gaps. It was like a storm that's been brewing, it slowly became fast, dropping rocks with loud thuds. Without skipping a beat, Ramita raised her mechanical right hand, extending a bright orange energy blade from it. Barely half a meter long, but it was as radiant as a shooting star, putting the overhead lights to shame. She swiped her energy blade swiftly, cutting through the wall and the metal layer. Bingo! Ramita quickly stretched out her left hand, grabbing hold of a palm-sized item. Cool, let's bounce. Tirapa quickly guided the mechanical body. The right-hand energy blade sliced through a rock that was about to crash onto Ramita. The gleaming blue lighting gear was swiftly retracted back into the mechanical right hand. Tirapa rerouted most of the power to the legs, and jumped, her hands protecting Ramita's clear helmet, shooting up like a gust of wind. With a powerful leap, Ramita breached the top, and her mechanical body plunged into the rock layer. Thanks to Tirapa's precision, the mechanical right hand latched onto a particularly tough edge of the rock layer, anchoring the body. Ramita could only feel the earth and stones flow around her like a violent waterfall, rushing into the gaping hole she made, nearly getting swept away. "Tirapa, give me a status report," Ramita managed to say. "Helmet and arm module at 20% damage, body at 30% damage, energy at 50% depletion. Judging by your neural responses, your brain's gotten a bit rattled too. A friendly advice, let's not dive into these old age mysteries headfirst next time," Tirapa replied with a sigh. "Damn, a perfect relic of the old age, and I just had to wreck it." Ramita felt a pang of regret. She looked down at where a bookstore once stood, now just a pile of rocks and sand. The shelves, platforms, and virtual storage devices she saw moments ago must have been utterly destroyed. She couldn't help but feel a wave of regret. Don't beat yourself up. Even if you hadn't stumbled upon this relic, everything in it was destined to be lost. After all, the old age is long gone. Why sweat about things that are bound to disappear? The thing is, it's not about the place or the books, but what they represent. Tirapa tried to console Ramita. Watching a replay presented by Tirapa, a short man making a grand bow to a laughing crowd, Ramita's heartache seemed to lighten a bit. She opened her left hand and began to scan the shimmering object, which looked like a round jade. However, the jade was densely engraved with tiny text patterns. Seeing all of this, she couldn't help but laugh. "Tirapa, sometimes you do make sense," Ramita said with a smile. "I can't tell if that's putting me down or putting yourself down," Tirapa responded helplessly. All right. We need to move up quickly, or we're in trouble." Ramita carefully placed the delicate jade into the compartment of her mechanical arm, and then with a push, propelled the massive mechanical body towards the hard rock layer. The familiar rock tunnel in front of her eyes was where she had accidentally fallen due to her initial wrong cutting direction. Thinking of this, Ramita couldn't help but smile again. "I told you that from the beginning, but you didn't listen to my advice and insisted on digging your shortcut, which led to..." Ramita didn't let Tirapa finish her sentence. She tapped her right temple, and the originally blinking blue halo suddenly dimmed, along with Tirapa's voice, disappearing without a trace. Humming lightly, Ramita controlled the mechanical body and once again stepped into the darkness of the tunnel. The clear sounds gradually weakened until even the faintest sounds could not be heard, and silence descended again. Darkness was covered by darkness, and time seemed to stop once more.
And with that, we've come to the close of our story for today. Thank you all for tuning in and allowing me to share these fascinating tales with you. It's truly been a joy. I'm Miguel, your story guide on this journey. Until our next story unfolds, have an amazing day. Stay curious, and continue to explore. Keep safe, and take care.